Congressman Garret Graves is now with us. We mentioned this right at the top of this hour. His very first NewsNation appearance, and a lot of people are talking about you, Congressman, after some colorful comments on the floor of the House the other day. I mean, you are obviously fired up, and it is a emotional situation since Kevin McCarthy has been ousted. Now that a couple of days have passed, how are things now? How do you feel now? How tense is the situation in Washington right now?
Look, I don't think the pressure's relieved at all. The reality is that the House effectively is paralyzed right now. All the objectives that the folks that led this effort to throw Kevin McCarthy out of the House are focused on, like cutting spending and trying to secure the border, have actually been set back by their efforts to vacate the speakership. The whole thing was not thought out, poorly planned, poorly executed, and the fact that it took 96, 97% Democrat vote to oust the speaker with only 3 to 4% Republican gives you a pretty good idea on how flawed this approach was.
Now, we were actually in live coverage the other day when you were speaking on the House floor. We caught, I think, the tail end of it. We played a little bit of it earlier. For people who are just joining us, I do want to play part of that now and then come back and talk about the scene there and where, to your point, we are. It doesn't sound, to your point, like we're making a lot of progress, but here is this gentleman, Congressman Graves, on the House floor the other day. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Speaker, we've watched as these folks right here that have brought up this motion to vacate have refused to pay our military service members, refused to pay them. I want to quote my delegation member, my senator from Louisiana, John Kennedy. If we're not going to pay our service members, if they're not going to be there to protect us, next time someone invades America, call a crackhead and let me know how that works out.
I mean, like I said, you were fired up. You were angry. You can feel it. You can kind of feel the emotion there. How emotional was it? I mean, back during the McCarthy votes when he was going to become Speaker, there was talk that the fistfights almost broke out of the House floor. What about this time? I mean, how is this Republican caucus interacting?
Well, Speaker Pro Tem, the Speaker of the House at this point, Patrick McHenry, he did adjourn the House and suggested folks go home. I think that was a good decision. While there's a lot of urgency for us to act, the emotion was so strong that it wouldn't have been a productive time together and probably would have devolved into fistfights. Look, the reason this is so emotional and so frustrating is that you have a small group of people that made up, they fabricated, they lied about a scenario, and then they go and evict the Speaker of the House for the first time in American history, a speaker who has delivered some of the most conservative wins we've seen while only having one branch of the three, one half of one branch of the three. We have Chuck Schumer in the running the Senate, and we have Biden in the White House. I mean, what in the world do you think you're going to accomplish when you have one half of one branch of government? Yet we've been able to get signed into law the largest savings in American history, the most significant environmental and permitting streamlining in 40 years, the strongest work requirements for welfare in 20 years, pulling back $21 billion for IRS agents. I mean, what in the world do you think you're going to get when you have a Schumer in the Senate and Biden in the White House? These are remarkable wins. We've had the White House roll over and over and over again in negotiations, and they're out here saying that the Speaker promised this and promised that. These people weren't in the room when the Speaker was making promises. They're completely fabricating a narrative, and I cannot believe that a country like America has devolved into a third world government chaos because of people making up narratives and then acting on them.
They did, and there was only 8 of them in your caucus, but there was enough to get the Speaker out, and he's out now. I'm running out of time here, but you have to pick a new one. It doesn't sound like you're getting along with any of these people yet, and you guys are going to have to come together with a caucus and elect a new Speaker. Can you do it, and who do you support?
Well, look, there's still a lot of tension there. So far, there are 2 or 3 folks that have thrown their hat in the ring. We're going to be getting back together early next week to hear the pitch of those candidates, and we're going to have to see how this shakes out.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.